So let me introduce Steve. Hey, Steve, how are you?
Good. Thanks for having me.
With you. I know you're a certified business coach and an author and a speaker. I mean, I could be here all day just citing your accolades, but I know that you're really passionate about business growth and about helping those of us who may be, more on the beginning, the start end than the end. And so we all want to know how to make money because we know how many businesses go out of business. And I mean, it's I don't even know the percentage, I think, because it probably scares the heck out of me.
Pretty much 8 out of 100 over in the course of 10 years. So 8 out of 100 survive 10 years.
Oh my gosh. Well,
the odds are not in the favor of the small business owner.
No. And so what can we do about that? I mean, we can't just go, well, I guess some people can go out and drum up a bunch more money, but that has not been my experience. So, what is it that we face as small business owners that we may not even know enough about to be scared yet?
Oh, yeah, I teach a class called ABCs of Starting a Business. And a lot of these people are entrepreneurs. They're ready to what I call jump the cubicle. So they're going to leave corporate, whatever, or a business.
I love that. Entrepreneur.
I'm going to be my own boss. And it's like, Are you really ready to be your own boss? Not everyone's going to talk to you first.
Yeah, I mean, it is a real shock. And I've told people, I came out of academia. And for some reason thought I could run a business, which I found out very quickly, was not true. And I ended up having to close my business because I wasn't making enough money to even keep the doors open, and I couldn't support my family. So we go into this with all these hopes and dreams, but reality can be pretty tough.
It is. And talking to business owners, because I've been mentoring business owners with SCORE, Arizona Commerce Authority, and many other, small business groups trying to help entrepreneurs. And I've owned and operated 7 businesses and turned around 4 others.
Wow.
I learned the highs and the lows. I'm not going to say my businesses were rainbows, unicorns, and sparkles.
Okay.
I really wish I could tell you that lie, but they weren't.
Yeah.
So I learned my lesson. My first business, I had all my clients were in the tech space, and then the tech bubble burst.
Oh yeah.
First business, I lose everything, and within 3 days, I learned a valuable lesson: diversification.
That's a really valuable lesson too.
Yes.
And so here we are. Some of us, we are on the very low end of that. We are just getting ready to start.
Right.
And I wanted to ask you something because throughout this weekend, we have heard the importance of really knowing your message, of really being able to get that out. And I wonder if you could address that.
I couldn't agree with any of it. If everyone's talking about it, it's so true, because I talk to new entrepreneurs, people about ready to get into business. My first question is, who is your target market? And if they say everyone, I have really bad news for you. You're gonna fail. Period.
Yeah.
You've already lost. Don't put a penny in your business, because not everyone is your target market. Period.
Yeah.
I mean, if you sell women's bohemian fashion to 30 to 40-year-olds, not everyone's your target market.
That's very true. Very true.
Stop the madness.
Yeah.
So I think any entrepreneur really know who your target market is. What are those? Because once you know that, what are their problems, and how are you solving those problems for them?
Okay.
If you don't know that, you're going to have a hard time in your business, because you're going to be going from one sale, and that'll be the last sale with that person, because you can't deliver a promise they have in their mind.
Yeah. And it's that perception of what's valuable. I always tell people, if it's not relative to their problems and challenges, it's spam.
It's spam.
And so I'm wondering, how someone starting out, and let's just say this is my second month in business. I'm trying to build, what's the first place I should start? You said you're not pleasing everyone. Well, what do I do then? If I think everyone's my business, but they're not.
I get it down to like, what do you want to do? Let's start right there. Why do you want to do this? And then they go, well, I'm passionate about, building a better widget. Great. So you've made widgets in the past? No. Oh, then how are you going to build a better widget? That's what we encounter.
Yeah.
You hear that all the time. It's like, you came out of academia, you could have killed it. Going into business, it's like, it's a total different shift.
It absolutely is. It's just, it was, I don't think I've ever felt quite so dumb, or at least not since I was 6 years old.
We know what we know at the time, and hindsight's a beautiful, wonderful thing.
It is.
I hope we learn from it.
Yeah. So that first business, you learned that you need to diversify.
But I was clear on who my target was. I mean, crystal clear. They were tech startups, period. If you were not a tech startup, have a nice day. You're not my customer. I don't service you. I can't help you. Done. Because I wrote business and marketing and operational plans, which turned into coaching them for venture capital money. Because they're techies. At the time, all VC people were business people. Techies and VC people talk different ways.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Train techies to speak business.
Yeah. In fact, I saw a great just tagline, I guess, or whatever you want to call it. But this person said, I help business. It was something like, I help technical and business people communicate and understand each other. And I've been in that situation, so I kind of got that.
Right. I'll give you a little tip on that because I've taught classes on this. It's like I got rid of the I help over a decade ago.
Okay.
You know what? That's natural. What I do, tech people hire me to.
Oh, yeah.
Now, isn't that a clearer message? Now you say who your target market is and they hire you. Hiring
right off the bat, given those.
Right off the bat.
Yeah.
I help. Oh, so you do it for free?
Yeah.
I help my kids' softball team.
Yeah.
That's volunteer. But I get paid is a different story. Plus, you're setting it up that you are a professional right out of the gate, just with a switch of a couple words.
I really like that because that is such a powerful way of putting it. And, I help people with LinkedIn profiles, and I can really see, how great that would be. It's just a totally different approach from I help. And in fact, I think on my profile right now, in my headline, it says I help. I'm going to go back and change that. Yeah.
It changes how people perceive you and how you are now I'm an expert. I'm not working for free. I have a business, period. And it sets the tone and the foundation because now you can say like, I help tech entrepreneurs communicate with venture capitalists. Now that is specific.
Yes, that's specific. And I think you'd have a whole lot of people jumping up and down too.
And they're all going, I get you. I now know who you are.
Yeah.
And the problems they have, because you can read it right through that line. It's
right.
People can't speak to business people.
Right.
Period. We all know that. But now it's crystal clear, and you just cut down 30 seconds of blah, blah, blah to 5.
Yeah, really. And that, I think that's really important because we really need to be clear about our message. And so, I'm going to turn this on you, Steve. What is your message?
My message is because the people who hire me are actually small business and entrepreneurs.
Okay.
Struggling in their business. They're either flat, stagnant, declining, or not getting the results in their business.
Well, that pretty
now
much all my nightmares.
Them create systems and process to build a long-term sustainable business.
Good. Oh, that's interesting. So speaking for myself and speaking of someone who came out of academia where we're known for herding cats, I am not a linear thinker. Okay. That is very difficult, but I do know the importance of systems.
Oh,
And I don't think I knew them quite as well or understood it quite as much until I hired a virtual assistant. And he made it he made it crystal clear to me that we were going to have to set up some systems or we weren't going to be able to work together anymore, pretty much.
true.
Yeah. And so that really helped me. But I'm wondering, what kinds of systems do we need in place so that we can be successful in making money? Because as you said, that's the major piece that we all fall down on.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Because I'm helping a company working. Well, they hired me actually. They hired me to get systems and processes in place because they want to duplicate the business and eventually franchise one day. And I said, right now, if I said you have to go on a vacation next week, could you? And they're absolutely not. Why not? Well, I'd have to grab all my staff and try to data dump on them for the next day. So you have zero systems and processes written down and that has been clearly communicated to other people where you can now relax. And they were like, uh-oh. I go, you have a business problem. And that's like every business owner on the planet.
Right.
You have no systems or processes in place. So when an employee does something off the rails, to them, they don't know that it's off the rails because there's no systems and processes in place. Same thing with your marketing, your sales, how you even handle a sale. I did this with a boutique. We went through the entire sales process, step by step by step. Once we had systems and processes, we now brought the staff in and trained them always to upsell, cross-sell, and downsell.
Wow.
Their sales quadrupled overnight just by the language and the verbiage. But now everyone has a set process they can follow.
That makes a huge difference. Just having worked in universities as long as I did, I worked in career centers. So I mean, people were in and out the door, and I had graduate assistants. And one of the things we learned really quickly is that you have to have the graduate assistants update a manual every year, so they know what to do, because I wouldn't have known what to do.
Oh, I was turning around a 35-year-old business and I said, great, where's your operating manual? And they all looked at me like, what are you doing? I'm like, wow. Oh my God. And thank God their attrition was, they held 99% of their employees. The average tenure was 28 years in that business.
No wonder they didn't have an operations manual. They didn't need one.
They didn't need one, but I'm like, what if? These people are going to retire one day. They really are.
Yeah.
All that knowledge goes bye-bye. And that's when they all started freaking out and going, we need help. And I'm like, yeah, we'll get that. So we created an operations manual. We created it for every scenario. Every department worked on it. By the time we were done, we had 4 4-inch binders, but everyone was crystal clear. All of a sudden, all the departments, all the employees, leaders, everyone, working as one, because now we had one goal. Not, well, John said this, but John left a year ago.
Yeah. That's it's that institutional memory. And I think it's also that tendency we have to concentrate only on what's on our plate right now and not think ahead. I mean, to be honest with you, I haven't thought of my exit strategy yet. That has not been.
You're going to get me started on exit strategy?
No, well, yeah, you can do it if you want. I'm sure people would love to hear about that.
I always tell people, it's like, know your exit. What do you want to build the business for? Because how do you know you're going to be there if you don't know where it is? It's like, I want to go from LA to New York, but I don't have a map, no GPS. I'll figure it out. Yeah,
when you're in Arkansas.
Yeah, you're thinking, next thing you know, you've founded southern tip of Florida and thinking that's
right, exactly. Yeah, so having those goals and being clear on what we're doing and where we're going is what I'm hearing you say, that we need that clarity,
Right.
and to then figure out what it takes to make that business operate successfully.
Right. And really knowing your target market, because we all see this. We all see ads. We get them on Facebook, LinkedIn, all these things. A lot of them are so platitudinal. It's like they're not speaking to you. So what do? Scroll right by it.
Right.
But all of a sudden, if they were speaking to you, like if you're a techie, and they go, tech entrepreneurs, attention tech entrepreneurs, would you like to speak to business to get VC money? Stop the car.
Yeah,
I want to read that.
Right, absolutely.
You just spoke to me.
Mm-hmm. So making that message really targeted towards the problems and challenges that our niche has. So you mentioned turning around 4 companies, and you've had 7. In the companies that you helped turn around, and I'm gathering that maybe the one was the one that didn't have an operational manual.
Most of them didn't.
Yeah. Okay. So that's a common.
It was a common theme. Yeah.
Okay. And so how do you start with that? I mean, you can't just come in and say you need an operations manual. So how do you go about discovering the information that you need in order to build that business that is meeting a particular need?
Yeah, that one business, since it was in place for so long and they had so much history and culture, the culture was already established and it was tough to break that nut. And they had 11 different departments. So I actually had every department manager hold a staff meeting with all their people. And I'd get up and just ask questions. Never shoved anything down their throat, never gave them the purpose. And they finally, after a while, I'm like, I'm trying to do some research. I'm trying to understand what you all do. That's all. Nothing else.
Yeah. I'm
taking notes. I'm listening to what they say. And then I can find who really has that base knowledge of that deep interdepartmental knowledge that no one ever talks about. And I found those people, and I went and had like coffee with them and just asked them more questions. And I said, I need your help. Can you do me this? There was so-and-so and so-and-so in your department. They didn't seem like they knew what was up that you do. Could you get them on your team or committee and start building what you all do? Because you all do the same thing. And they'd be like, well, yeah.
Nobody ever asked them that.
No one ever asked them their input on anything. And I'm thinking, these people are way smarter than me. I'm just the guy they hired to turn this stuff around. They're smarter. They know the business. Next thing I know, I have all these departments flooding in with all these processes and procedures, how to even unlock a door in a retail store, because you have to get that granular. Because what happens if someone is brand new, they're supposed to be cross-trained, and that cross-trainer is sick. The brand new person has to do it themselves. But if you have a process, they know where to get the key, how to unlock it, how to set up the register, all these things. It was that granular. But it actually, when I had to actually move the location to another place.
Oh my.
36 acres.
Oh my.
Yeah. And we lost a lot of employees. If we didn't build those systems, the place where we moved it to would have been done. Game over, but just close.
Yeah, that's it.
Everyone was we had 50, 60% were brand new people.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
So we built it, and that's why I tell business owners, what happens if the CEO, the owner, something, God forbid, happens to them? All that knowledge is gone. And I hate to say it's usually the executive assistant. There's that one key linchpin person
that knows it all.
Quietest. Yeah. And they know where all the bodies are buried.
Yeah, that's the person you want to talk to, because they do know where the bodies are buried. Yeah. So you find the departments, or you talk to the departments, you talk to everybody in the business, and get them kind of on the same page, I guess. So as a smaller entity, like me, I have one assistant. Mm-hmm. How do we go about creating the same purpose or the same vision or goal?
Yeah, one of the big things, like the exit, where you want to take the business.
Mm-hmm.
Then you reverse engineer backwards. So in 20 years, I want to sell the business to a competitor. I had this in one of my businesses. It was a retail store. I said, in 10 years, I'm going to sell this business to one of my competitors. So I built everything in my business towards selling it to a competitor. So everything I did, I researched all my competitors. I knew where they bought their materials. I knew everything about their internal systems. I learned. And so I started using that knowledge. So if I went to say I'm selling, I also had a great relationship with all my competitors, which most people are thinking, well, why is that? I mean, I knew all my competitors in a 10-mile radius. I actually created a co-op so we could save money on supplies and materials. Then when things went bad in economic downturn, I had some of these people going, I need to sell. Guess who they are? You have all these people that know and like and trust, and they know your business. How easy was it to sell? And I would just, hey, I don't want your materials. I don't want your equipment. I don't want your staff. I want your databases.
Mm-hmm.
And everyone thought I was crazy. I'll give you 5-10 cents per name on your database. And they're like, I'll take $100.
Yeah.
They couldn't figure out why. It's like, well, I love marketing.
Yeah.
I now can send out newsletters and all these things to all these people, introducing them to me and what I do. And I survived through the economic downturn by buying databases because of the relationship, because I had a goal to sell it to a competitor. And then when it was time for me to sell, I went and talked to my vendors and suppliers, and I just whispered to them, I'm thinking about selling. Out of the woodwork comes all bigger players.
Yeah, because they got the word.
Right. And I had it all built up. So I had my systems in place, everything, because I only had 2 employees at the time. But I wrote down their processes, how to open up the day, how to close the day, what do they do during the day, how to use each machine. It was very detailed. So when someone came in to buy, they're like, what systems and processes do you have? Because that's what they don't want to buy me.
Sure.
If I'm a solopreneur and I go out of business, guess what? There's no business. Right. If I have systems, processes in place, I can sell them that.
Yeah.
And I see that in 2020, business owners were crying like, business brokers don't want to talk to me. They won't sell my business. It's like, you don't have a business. You have an income stream, a beautiful, loving, wonderful income stream for 30 years, but you don't have a business. A business you can sell. An income stream you can't, because if I take the owner out, there's no business.
Yeah.
So building the systems and processes, being clear with your marketing, your accounting, all that stuff. Then when someone comes and looks at your stuff, they're like, oh, well, you have everything documented. I could plug and play employees in now.
Yeah. That's a great point. I certainly wouldn't have thought of that. And I think, that ability to relax and be able to leave and have the business go on. I don't know whether you heard my story, but 8 years ago, I had just started my second business. Everything was going great. It was the night before Thanksgiving. We were having people over for the first time in a long time. And my husband was pulling out of the driveway. I remembered something I needed from the store. So I whipped out back here, ran down the stairs, hit the first landing, and like I always did, grabbed the wall and kind of, flew around the first landing, went down that entire landing and broke my pelvis in 5 places. So that was a year out of my life. And it was also my business. I didn't have anything in place that anybody could have helped with. So I'm hearing you.
Yeah, and building the relationships in your industry. I hear this all the time. Like, that's the craziest idea. I go, it was the best advice I took 2 decades ago from someone. I thought it was crazy then, and I started thinking like, that person's a genius.
Yeah.
They knew all their competitors inside, outside. I mean, I had a competitor in a retail store right across the street, a national chain, who had marketing budget of $2.5 million. My marketing budget for the year, $2,000. I can't compete. Well, I found out their weaknesses by getting to know them, I made a giant sign that I fixed their mistakes. I had their lawyers coming. I go, prove me wrong on that sign. They go, we can't. I'm like, I cleaned house, and I started beating them.
Yeah. Yeah. And I saw something recently that was along that line. And it was basically understanding your competitors and actually, bringing them together, because that's the way you open up more opportunity too.
Oh, I couldn't agree more. I mean, if I didn't bring the competitors together to talk about supplies, I went to a huge competitor, but I knew they bought the same materials I did, but they're getting price breaks because of quantity. So I went to them and said, would you like to reduce that cost even more? And they're like, what do you have in mind? I pitched them with an idea of forming a co-op, and I'll go grab a few others. They went and grabbed a few others. Next thing you know, we have 20 people buying this one item. It was all costing us $8 a unit. It all went down to $1.30 a unit.
Oh my gosh.
Got it. And we started going, if we did it on this one item, what else do we share resources on? And we started doing that. And then we started sharing ideas and getting to know each other. And this vendor's good, this vendor. I mean, so we started using our contacts and sharing that. And we're all competitors.
Yeah, but I can see where that would be really valuable.
Yeah. I mean, you don't share all your trade secrets. Let's get that right. You don't share your secret sauce, but you share what the burger's made out of. Because everyone's making the same burger.
I think I saw something recently about, and I'm trying to think of exactly, and it just came in one side and went out the other. But it was something that I had seen in, oh, I know what it was. When you were talking about competitors, it was when you're marketing, don't downplay the other competitor or your competitor. Don't talk about their weaknesses. Look at what they're good at, and then show how you're different. And I thought that was brilliant, because you're not offending someone. In fact, you're complimenting them, you're helping them out, but you're still getting what you need to get to. I thought that was brilliant.
I could agree more. I mean, that retail store, I would look on their online profiles. Everyone's complaining. I can't get this fixed. This is broke. It's just nonstop. So I'm like, that's their number one complaint.
Yeah.
So I went and talked to them. They're like, oh my God, it doesn't end. They come back all the time. We didn't do something right, nonstop. And I'm like, that's my key advantage, because I fix those things.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's why I highlighted it, and I put their name, not their logo, and implied based on the store industry of who I'm fixing, which was right across the street.
Wow, that's great.
I started attracting all their employees as well.
Did you pick up some employees that way?
If their employees can't do it right the first time, why would I hire them?
Yeah, right. They were getting all these complaints back to
them. But I also realized they weren't trained properly. They had no systems and processes in place. And there was a couple I did hire, and oh my God, they flourished. They had so many other ideas, and we implemented those. And I was just like, then I took that vacation. And guess what? My phone didn't ring. I didn't see one email. I came back. The place was not burnt down. And in fact, sales were still happening. I was like, that's when you have made it as a business owner.
Yeah. Yeah. And I wish I could say that would happen right now, but no, if I went on vacation, I'm not sure what would happen. Well, I know that I do have faith in the people that work with me. So
my goal years ago was go 100% virtual, so I can do what I do anywhere in the world, anytime I want to do it. And I had set up automations and everything else. And I've hit that point. So now it's like I get to pick and choose who I want to work with, when I want to work with them, all these things. And you know what? It just changes your whole life and your lifestyle and your attitude.
Sure. Yeah, I'm sure if you don't absolutely have to worry about bringing in money every day and you're living hand to fist. Yes, I think because a lot of the people on here are coaches and consultants and, don't have a staff at all. A lot of us.
Right. I'll be honest. I have Well, now it's down to this many VAs. That's it, folks.
Yeah, one good one is all you need, and yeah.
They're in another country and I love them to death.
Yes.
But we have systems and processes and checks and balances throughout.
Yeah, and that I think is really key. And that's one thing that I've learned. And actually my virtual assistant is kind of hanging out in the background here. So don't listen, virtual assistant. He has done so much in terms, and he's gentle about it. Like do not touch the Google Drive under any circumstances. You are banned.
Oh, I've had that lecture to me.
Yeah.
Do not mess with one file in this folder.
Right, exactly. So they have to protect us from ourselves, So you're talking about money, and gosh, we all know how important money is, but you're talking about message, and I wonder if you could talk a little bit more about that. Why our message is so key for business success.
Yeah, we kind of touched on a lot of it because your target market, it's in your message. Who are you talking to? Anyone else ignores you. It's just like if you don't like sports, I bet if I did sport commercials all day on your TV shows, you wouldn't hear a single one. All you would hear is
Yep, that's right.
And you would never get the message. Well, knowing who your target market is one thing. What are their problems and how are you solving them? Because that's the hook.
Yeah.
I mean, we all want our problem solved.
Sure.
I help people. Business is not making money. Here's business definition, and I had a professor telling me this, God knows how long ago, and it made me really realize. Well, he goes, well, your business is satisfying the needs and the wants of someone else in exchange for money.
That makes sense.
And once that happens, that shift, it's like now you're going to get a little clearer with your message. Stop spraying and praying and start using a sniper rifle.
That's a great analogy. We used to talk about using a shotgun versus a rifle. I remember years ago, before we understood what some of these other things were. But yeah, that focused approach. And I've talked about this before, but I wanted to mention it again because when I first started, when I came back to LinkedIn after I was better and everything, and I started working on LinkedIn, and I knew that was where I wanted to be because I knew my ideal clients were there. I knew that they could afford what I was selling, and it was the place people went to do business. So I was really clear on what it was that I wanted to do. But getting that clarity and actually being able to focus and get it to work for me were two different things because they were telling us bigger is better, like that shotgun approach is better. Right. And you saw this erupt on social media during the pandemic. I mean, it got so bad. And in fact, I remember LinkedIn started doing articles, they still are, on how to sell on LinkedIn because, it's not that shallow approach. No. Of numbers, but it must work for someone because they keep doing it.
Exactly. And you brought up a great point. This is one of the things about your message is money. It's where are your target market? Where do they play?
Yeah.
You're just like you said, you found your target market in LinkedIn. So if you were on Pinterest and you wonder why you're getting zero results, your target market's not playing there. They're not there.
Yeah.
And that's why you really have to understand your target market. I even know my target market so well, I'll send direct mail postcards. And by the way, folks, direct mail is so not dead.
I know.
So not dead. It is high. Actually,
well, it's just so magical. You go out and you open your mailbox and you have something there that you can hold. I'm fond about you. Everybody who knows me knows I send them electronic greeting cards because I'm just not going to go to the store and do that. My husband is the card picker in the family. But having that thing that comes in the mail, and I even put them up on the refrigerator if I really like them. I mean, we do things with them.
Oh yeah, I'm working on turning our company around right now, and so I got them thank you cards, and I worked out a deal with the printer, so So dirt cheap. And the board of directors like, thank you cards. We've never had thank you cards before.
Well,
Trust me on this. And they're like, well, what's the point of thank you card? I go, thanking people, but it's thank you for signing up. Thank you for renewing. Thank you for this. Thank you for that. You know how much weight that one little teeny tiny card is going to carry? I've seen it in many businesses.
Yeah.
Blown up businesses over a simple thank you card with you handwriting 1 to 2 lines. That's it. It's not complex.
Yeah, and it's just so powerful. Yeah, and I think people have just gotten away from it. Maybe because we can't read our own writing. That's my excuse anyway. But I have always been impressed by it because I'm not the person. My mother was the thank you card person. I mean, we were Christmas morning. She's already got the cards out for us to start writing, and that was very much a part of functioning in society. That was our role, right. And please and thank you in many ways seems to have dropped away, so that we actually notice it now when someone is polite. I know. I live in an area where, it's a very diverse area. And what works in one store and the way that you're dealt with in one store is often very different than another store. But the thing that always gets me coming back is when they write to me and they say, thank you for being our loyal customer. We'd like to make a gift of, 20% off, this 20. I may never use the coupon, but I'm going to remember them.
Right.
It's
just so powerful. And, one of my businesses, I would sit on a Sunday watching football, writing out these thank you cards and just putting one small personalized thing in there besides their name.
Yeah.
What they bought from me or what they did with me or how I helped them. And I started putting these like discount coupons in.
Yeah.
And I tracked it because I'm big on measuring. And all of a sudden I noticed I started flipping it slowly into a referral program. So I started seeding the water, putting like fishies in there, start feeding the fish. And then it was time to start a new pond. I can take some of those fish and they would go to that pond and start growing more. And it was all over a stamp. And I got these thank you cards for free because I did something for my vendor. Always a way to negotiate people.
Yep.
And they just said who I was, my business, it fit me and my personality, my business to a T. And they were so simple, just said thank you.
Yeah, it's so powerful. And that's one of the things that I talk about on LinkedIn too, because I think, there are a couple of really successful strategies you can use, no matter whether it's, a brick and mortar building or you're online. And that's, gratitude is one of them, appreciation, just caring, generosity. Right. I always tell my clients, generosity, be generous. Don't give away your trade secrets, like you said, not the secret sauce, but you can afford to be generous in so many ways. There's no way I could run out of things to say about LinkedIn that would help people.
That's it. I mean, I've done short little snippet videos just to help business owners with this many things at a time, something simple that they can use right away. I'm giving away, and I've had coaches come up to me like, are you nuts?
Yeah.
No, are you nuts?
Yeah.
If it can help them grow their business and stop the crazy and the madness, I'm all in.
Yeah.
You guys want to keep it to yourself? That's your call. I'm here to help these people if I can, because that one thing isn't going to transform everything, but it's going to get them to a place they can breathe and relax a little bit. Then they can probably start talking to me more. Yeah,
and I think that's a really good point. And it's also, you are over time demonstrating, number one, that you're an authority, and that you know your stuff, but number two, that the way that you work with people.
Right.
And we all want to be welcomed. I don't know how many times I've told people, smile in your picture. I mean, smile, look like somebody that would be nice to talk to.
If your profile pictures They're going right over your profile.
Unless they're looking for an enforcer of some kind or a bodyguard. Yeah. And so, these things about they're really just common courtesy and common sense. And they're treating people the way that we want to be treated.
Exactly.
That thing that mom and dad taught us, when we were sitting at the dinner table, you treat people the way you want to be treated. And you say please and thank you. And you ask if you can leave the table if you're going to be disrupting. No, I mean, just all those little things. And I think we lose sight of them. And I think also with something, LinkedIn isn't even the biggest social platform. I think Meta is like 20 times, 50 times the size of that. I think they're into billions now.
They do different things. And that's where a lot of business owners think, well, I have to be on all these platforms. No, you don't.
No.
If your target market is not on a certain platform, don't waste your time. Now, there's ways to have a presence there and redirect them to your website. That I would highly recommend.
Yeah.
But don't play there. Don't post on Instagram every day if no one is listening and no one follows. But have a presence there, redirecting them to your website or where are you playing.
That's really good, and I think that's really key. So this is a new game in a lot of ways. I mean, we've all, I think we've all realized in the last 2 years that technology is going to be serving us in ways that we never anticipated. It's going to break down doors that we never thought would happen. And then, of course, you've got AI, and everybody's freaking out over that. And my thought is, it's going to keep changing. No matter what you do, the world is not going to stop for you. They're not going to
stop. I had an old client, and they sold their business, and they're like, it's time for me to find something to really do, because they were bored. I said, well, let's first update your resume. We did the whole thing using ChatGPT. He went on his introductory call. They hired him on the introductory call.
Oh my God.
He had the experience, but they loved his resume so much. And I said, you never tell him you did that through chat.
Well, yeah, don't tell the resume writers that for sure.
Yeah, exactly. Sorry, all resume writers on here.
Yeah. Well, one thing I did read recently, and I know all the search engines have ways to determine how much is AI,
right.
percent or
something. You got to put you in it, folks. Don't just copy paste, please.
Yeah, it does.
Put your own you in it. Be you.
Yeah, that really makes a difference. And what I've been seeing, or what I've been hearing from my friends who are still in career development, is that now HR is using that same kind of thing. They will be able to tell whether it was written by ChatGPT. And we can't, and you can't teach ChatGPT to tell your story, the way that you can with other things. But I think you're absolutely right. And we have to be able to pivot. And I've grown to hate that word. I have to tell you, pivot. But we have to, because when something new comes into our market or something new changes, then we have to know. I mean, you're not the first person who has talked about the economic downturn, that happened in 2008 to 2010. Yeah. People lost everything in that.
Oh, I watched it. I had a retail store in a strip center. Everyone was going bankrupt around me. Here I am keeping the lights on, and the landlord couldn't figure it out. I kept paying rent on time, and they're like, well, every day you come in smiling and happy. They're like, how do you do it? And I go, I still make a penny. I used to make a dime. Now I make a penny. But I'm making money. And they're like, how? And I go, I renegotiated all my agreements long time ago. I got marketing money. I have a set hardcore marketing plan that I stick to. And then buying all these people who went out of business, their databases.
Yeah.
I integrated that into my own marketing plan, and that kept me going.
Yeah, for sure. And
I had systems and processes and a plan.
That makes all the difference in the world. And I'm just sitting here thinking, I haven't written out our marketing plan.
That's not easy. I'm doing that with one of my clients right now, and they're like, where do I start?
Yeah, and I'm looking down here because I'm seeing my virtual assistant. He's in here, and he's going, "Yeah, no kidding. You don't have a marketing plan, First to Dumont, get a marketing plan."
It's like, who is your target market? You got to really know that one crystal clear, because I swear, once you know that, the other pieces of the puzzle. That's like putting the outline in a puzzle first. Know your target market. The rest will come.
Okay, so Steve, tell me this, because you're not the first person to say this, that you really need to understand your target market. When you are starting out, you may not have any clue as to even how to do that.
Right.
How do you actually go about researching a target market, in the world as it is today?
Yeah, the first thing I come right back to, like, what do you want to do? What is your superpower? What's your strength? What drives you? What's your passion? I mean, I'm one of the very fortunate business owners in the world. My passion, I love helping small business owners, entrepreneurs. So for me to go to a franchise or a corporate-owned location, folks, they're last in line. I go to mom and pops because I want to keep the dollars in the community, but I know I'm supporting a family. I'm supporting a community. So you got to know where your passion lies and what industry and what are you solving for these people. So let's say I don't know who my target market is, but I want to do XYZ. Great, XYZ. Now let's look at those people who buy XYZ. And then let's come up with a list. So we go very granular, go from big to little. And then when people go, well, I don't know who buys this. Well, then why would you want to do that?
Seriously.
Really. And where'd you come up with this idea? Well, I have an idea for a pet rock.
Yeah. And I really have heard that from so many people too, in terms of, how do you find that market? And what I think I'm hearing is you kind of go out and say, this is what I want to do. This is what I'm passionate about. Now
we can research it. Are they going to buy what you sell, your product or service?
Who will buy this, or will they? And how can I make it better? And I think that's so important. I can remember somebody giving me that advice early on and not following it. And the reason I didn't was because
don't worry.
I didn't. You know what did it? I didn't, because one of the questions I was supposed to ask was, how much would you pay for a service like this?
It's the simplest question in the world.
And I would choke on it every time. I would just choke on it. And a person said to me, and I really took it to heart. They said, if nobody's expressing an interest in that, if you're going online and you're, for instance, I was writing a course. If you're going online and nobody else is offering that, what does that tell you?
There you go.
Well, either you have a totally unique thing that nobody ever thought of, or it's not profitable.
That's so true. I mean, look at major corporations. I always say, learn about these major corporations, because at one point in time, they were working out of a garage.
Yeah.
It didn't just magically happen overnight. I mean, Amazon took 10 years before they really caught on. 10 years. So they're not an overnight success.
No.
The guy starved for his first 7 years of his business.
Yeah, you look at all these that have been started. And I'm going to forget his name. I blocked out his name. Meta.
Zuckerberg.
Yes, Zuckerberg. And I have my own feelings about most. So I have my own feelings and judgments about just about everything. But it's part of being on the earth long enough. But I really have problems with not staying close to the customer, because it seems like, and I think Zuckerberg started out of his garage too. Dorm room. Okay. Even.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
that's Michael Dell, dorm room.
Yeah. So
Bill Gates, dorm room. I mean.
Yeah. And I'm sure that there are all kinds of businesses running on every campus right now. And some of them are probably going to do very well.
Right.
because they grew up in this and they understand where all of this is going. But I don't see that, and maybe this is just me, I don't see that opportunity to start on a shoestring and really grow quickly anymore. Is that just me, or is that a change in the environment?
It has changed. You can do it. I believe in guerrilla marketing. So marketing that doesn't cost any money. Because there are many ways to market your business without putting a penny into the marketing. But it takes time. Time. But this is where that crystal clear focus has to come in. And so joint venture partners are one of the easiest ways to grow your business, but you have to know who you serve. I mean, crystal clear, it all comes back to it. Their problems and solutions, have a program that you can talk to a joint venture who also serves that same market, but differently than you. So I do joint venture partnerships all the time. And, I'm sharing about this to my tribe.
Right.
And I'm going to keep sharing about it. So that's why I found out about today. It was like I was getting messages from my tribe.
Yeah, they were saying, "Hey, Steve,
what's going on? Let's look."
Yeah, and I'm so glad you did get those messages, because I have just been loving this conversation.
It's helping everyone. That's the key. It's not just helping my tribe, not helping just your tribe. It's helping our tribe, and we're here to help our tribe.
Right. And I think that's why most of us go into business. Yes, we're passionate about something, and we know but we really want to help others with what we know, or what our expertise is. So I wanted to, you were the second person who mentioned this, so I wanted to bring it up. You worked with SCORE. And the Arizona, I didn't catch the second one.
Arizona Commerce Authorities, they actually work with a lot of entrepreneurs, small business owners, and they provide, I call them wantrepreneurs from Shark Tank, wantrepreneurs, where to even start in business. So I do mentoring sessions, do a lot of speaking with them. I do a lot of presentations and workshops for SCORE, such as ABCs of starting a business. And then I also teach the high level, like Business Plan 501. So it's not how to build a business plan. These people have been in business probably 7+ years. They're now looking to expand their operations. They need funding. They're looking for investors. They're seeing an out. So they already have an exit in mind. Whereas Business Plan 101 is like, okay, let's build a business plan.
Yeah, exactly.
These people are like a totally different type of business plan.
Yeah.
And a different purpose for it.
Yeah, because I think when you're starting out, it's just figuring out how you're going to get clients and how you're going to get paid and those kinds of things. Yeah, so that's really a big
question. It's simple. It's like, I did this in one of my business. You were talking about how do you know who your target market is? So I started my last business. I know who my target market is. I know all their problems. I researched it. I interviewed people. I was crystal clear. And then one day I'm filled up with one-on-one clients. And then I realized not one of them is in that target market. Something's weird here. So I did what everyone should be doing all the time. Why did you hire me? Why me? And they all said the exact same thing. They said the message really got me. I just ignored who the market was. So I took out the market and put in their market. Nothing changed. That was a lesson that all business owners, because I knew who it was, I just had the wrong market. It was the same message.
Wow, that's really interesting. And I think, I know SCORE really helped me when I was starting out. You didn't hear my story, but I had to close my first business, basically because I knew nothing about business. I knew about career coaching because I'd done that in academia, but I really wasn't ready for, I needed business 101. And I probably needed marketing 101 and sales 101 and all of those. And I think that many of us who are on the smaller end have trouble even imagining what it's going to be like when we do succeed, what we're going to be looking at. I used the word scale one time, and somebody said to me, not everybody understands what that means.
Because it means different things to different people.
Yeah. So,
It's one of those words, like some people get it. Like you say, scale to a multinational corporation. They're thinking of taking over a country.
Right.
How do we infiltrate this country?
Right.
Like, whereas a small business owner, scale could be adding one employee.
Absolutely. And that makes such a difference. When I first hired two VAs, but one I really, really loved, and he now works for me for 25 hours a week, and just keeps making more things possible. It's such a freeing sense, and somebody once said, well, that's because you become a CEO. Well, I'm not sure I'm a CEO. I'm one person, and I have somebody who really, really gets it, but
You're a CEO. Because that's the definition. You're leading now, and because you always have like from Michael Gerber, are you the technician, the manager, or the entrepreneur? Everyone starts off, you're the technician, period. You need to work your way up to being the entrepreneur to have a business. You got to work yourself out of your own job. I hate to do it. It's an ego hurt like you've never hurt, but when you all of a sudden realize you can go on that vacation and you have the right people in place and the right things in place, you became an entrepreneur at that moment.
Yeah. That's a great way of putting it. And I recently someone said to me something that made so much sense, and I realized that I had never done it. He was saying that when you work in your business really hard, and 3, 4, 5 months, you need to take a vacation. You need to let your brain relax, and that's when all those great ideas start coming in, and you come back and you work twice as hard because
you're absolutely right. I mean, I've had my coaches yell at me like, you need a vacation. Oh, I'm firing on all cylinders. No. You think you are. Your body and your mind are like in the background going, give me a break.
Yeah.
And then you take the vacation and shut it down. Don't check your email. Or I used to have a thing with my clients. The client was not allowed to get any emails. And if they called in to find out what was going on, the staff had all the rights to say a negative, like you do not call and everything's fine. And he called once and he goes, man, they were hard on me. I'm like, you're supposed to be on vacation.
Yeah,
exactly. Marriage too, by the way.
I'm sorry, what?
I was saving his marriage.
Oh, okay.
I was ready to divorce him because he was working so much. They haven't had a vacation in 7 years. Yeah. I called her up, asked where you want to go. I came right back to him. You're going to book this on today, right now. He goes, but we need to talk about our business. No, you're booking a vacation today. He did it. He was like crying, sweating, everything. I said, now we're going to go round up your staff and tell them all you're going on vacation. He goes, I was ready to call 911. But when he told the staff, they're all like, it's about time.
Yeah.
His staff were rock stars, but he just didn't have that trust level yet. And I had to prove it to him. They got it.
Yeah. And there's something too about going on vacation and no one does call.
Right.
Nobody calls and says we have a problem. And then you feel like, well, what was I doing?
Yeah. And if you have to solve all the problems in your business, then you have some problems in your business. You didn't train people correctly, and you probably don't have the right people on your bus. So you've got to really analyze that. And like going into other businesses, I went and started looking at people. It's like, why do you have a marketing person at the front desk? That is so not their strength.
Yeah.
They dread coming in every day because they're not happy.
Yeah.
And then I move them back into marketing. All of a sudden, the ideas and the creativity.
Yeah. They were in the right place.
Now they're in their happy place, what they were originally hired for too, which I found out later. I was like, oh my.
Yeah, we do that. I know in academia, we often hired people and then put them in a different role and then wondered why it didn't work. Because we're not all talented in every way. And Steve, I wanted to come back to the whole thing about message, because that really is the heart of marketing.
Mhm.
And so how do we discover our message? How do we come to that?
Yeah, it comes back to that target market again, stating your problem, their problems, not yours, not what you think they are. And
Hmm.
the easiest way to find out is pick up one of those phone thingies and call people that you know in that industry.
Okay.
I did market research that way. I reached out to on my last business because I wanted to get all their problems, and I asked them, can I just have 15 minutes of your time? I'll buy you coffee when I see you, and I'm just going to ask you 10 questions, nothing invasive. And it was all my market research. So I found the top problems of that industry, of
Sure.
them. Now I can now build my solutions, knowing having my knowledge base and my passion and everything else. That was the easy part.
Hmm.
Then I put it in a message, who I serve, your problems, how I solve them, and contact me. So now I was hyper focused, and that's what started the phone ringing. Versus buy my junk, which we see all day on Facebook and all these other places, and none of us care if there's that one person going, ooh, I'll buy that junk. But
Yeah.
you might get the one sale, but I'm after repeat longevity. I want referrals. I'm looking at a bigger picture than just the sale.
Yeah. I can
I'll
understand.
give something away to my clients to make them happy. I do birthday cards, and they don't realize I got their birthday from someone somehow. I don't tell them all the time.
No, don't give away the secret.
Surprise, and it makes them feel good.
Yeah.
Now they want to work with me more because I'm personal. And to me, it's like, man, I'd love to see a birthday card.
Yeah. That's something that we all love and we all like to celebrate. So, Steve, if you were, because we are in a different world now than we were, several months ago, what if someone were starting out right now? What would be your advice? The best way that they could start getting their message out?
It comes right back. Who do you want to serve? Who are you serving?
Okay.
Really understand that. I kid you not, they call it avatar. There's so many different terminologies for it. And there's like 3 people who use the Steve. Who's your Steve? And I'm like, really, I'm Steve.
That's great.
But you really need to know where they're at, how old they are, what are their habits, why are they buying certain things. So I know, like lead groups, LinkedIn, I'm always getting slaughtered. Well, would you like 10 more leads a day?
Yeah. Oh, I know. I get so tired of that.
I'm a sales navigator. I can get as many leads as I want.
Right. And I get ones that say, I can help you with LinkedIn. And I'm thinking, did you?
Because they're not reading your profile. So for business owners, if you're targeting someone, stop the madness, open your eyes and your ears, close the mouth. Mm-hmm. You're going to learn a lot more. And do your research on these people. Know where your passion is and where are they. So I'm in a group of coaches in a mastermind group, and one coach just does social media influencing. So they stay on 3 platforms, but they're on probably hundreds. It all comes back to the 3. So all they have to do every day is post once, share, post. It's one thick piece of content, done.
Wow, that's
They're
great.
efficient. They gain clients all the time because they know where their market is and what their market is looking for.
Right.
And
what
they know they're not attracting everyone, and they don't want to. They really don't. I don't want to attract everyone.
Yeah,
I don't.
That's one of the signs of a powerful brand. They always say a powerful brand repels as strongly as it attracts.
Right. I'll give you some Pepsi and Coke. Okay, they're selling sugar water, right?
Yeah.
Do they appeal to everyone? And the answer is no. There's people like me who don't drink soda. So when I see one of those commercials, I don't even blah, blah, blah.
Right.
They're not talking to me.
Yeah.
But they know that. That's why they do repetitive commercials. Do I know about them? Obviously.
Yeah.
I'm not blind because that's repetitive commercials. As a small business owner, we don't have that luxury.
No, we
can't throw billions of dollars in advertising. So our message needs to be spot on.
Absolutely targeted.
Very targeted.
Steve, this has been extremely helpful, and I know that people have really benefited from it, because that clarity that you're talking about is something that has come up, repeatedly throughout this weekend, that you have to be clear. You have to be clear about your market. You have to understand them, and you have to listen. And that has been, one of the big emphases that I've seen. And I think about it and I realize, that's what's really missing with a lot of us. We have forgotten the listening skills. And
absolutely. The businesses that are thriving are asking questions, not telling, not saying you must. None of us like that you must clean your room. Come on, we all were that age. But if I ask questions like, so are you happy about your room being messy? Now it gets you thinking like,
yeah,
going with this, and then you just leave it at questions, and then let them draw their own conclusion. Next thing you know, the room's clean, and you didn't tell them.
That is such a. I love that. I'm going to have to keep that in mind. As the daughter of a woman who suffered with her messy teenage daughter. I kind of get that, and she never once said, "Well, do you like having a messy room?"
Right.
I might have heard that differently. Yeah.
So I did it to my kids, and they never knew it. They cleaned their room, and next thing you know, my wife at the time, she's like, "What did you say to them?" I'm like, "Nothing. Just ask questions."
That's so cool, Steve. So listen, I'm so grateful that you came on and that you shared this with us. I know a lot of people have gotten great ideas from it. I wanted to talk about, you have a gift, and it helps people with their business, with understanding what they need to do. And I wanted to drop that in the comments so that people would have access to it.
Oh, absolutely. Digital marketing. So, because it's complex. We just kind of covered this. And it also comes down, because I've noticed all the books I've written have all come from conversations with small business owners and entrepreneurs. They are so overwhelmed with digital marketing. They're like, oh, where do I even start? So it gets into like talking about their profiles. One organization, Toastmasters, I did a whole hour on how to build your LinkedIn profile to it can get a better job. It can, if you're a business owner, how to attract all these little things. But digital marketing is so overwhelming nowadays, and everyone thinks that they have to be an expert on all that, and you don't. Keep it simple, keep it manageable, but this is where your target market comes into play, and it talks about it there too.
Yeah.
I don't want to play on TikTok. I have a TikTok account. Yes, it says go to my LinkedIn profile.
Yeah.
It really does. Because I'm on these platforms, but I'm not on the platforms. I'll play in LinkedIn. I have a Facebook community. I have an Instagram I've been playing with on and off. And everyone says, well, your market's there. And I blew it up, a couple hundred people in the first week. And it's like, oh, okay. And then I ignored it.
Yeah.
Yeah, my coach is still yelling at me for that one.
Yeah.
I did a classic entrepreneur mistake.
Yeah, but you know what? We all do it.
We all do it.
We all do it. And I was telling Ben earlier, Joy was on a little bit ago, and we was talking about how to write a book. And I told him that one of the things I've started doing is using me. I come out of academia, so I self-censor. So he taught me to go downstairs, take one thing and just do some dictation. It made such a difference.
It's the 1% rule. Just do one thing different a day to add 1% difference in your life. That's it. We're not talking, I need to do 20 things today. Do one change in your business, because it's exponential, people. I mean, Benjamin Franklin had the whole thing down right, talking about compounding interest.
Oh, yeah.
Business.
Yeah, and I forgot that was him.
Yeah. He's just saying, add one, Which would you rather have, $1 million or a penny to start with a penny and it doubled every day?
Yeah.
In a year, which would you rather have? I'd rather have the penny.
Yeah.
It's compounding interest.
Right.
Same thing in your business. Don't try to eat the elephant at once. Little bites. Same thing in digital. Work on one, get it down, start figuring it out. You're going to make some adjustments, some tweaks, whatever. Then move to the next one.
That makes a lot of sense.
Otherwise, we're stressed and freaking out.
Yeah, and when we get into technology, it gets even worse because it's trying to figure the whole thing out. And Anka Herman was on a little while ago, and she was talking about how confusing that can be, and that many of us as entrepreneurs try to do too many things at once. We need to get clients, get used to getting clients and doing it that way. Maybe we need a phone and a bank account, and then go on and look at what that next piece is that we can add in. And that seems to, I'm hearing that from you too. It's small bites, one at a time, and just keep putting one step forward and working your plan and your systems and your strategies.
I call it the Amazon method, because Amazon started with this many items. Once they perfected selling books online, then they went to one more thing, CDs. They perfected that, then they went to DVDs. To this day, they still do one thing at a time.
Really?
They got them to where they're at. But look, that's a perfect example. One at a time, and keep your focus on it. And
look at what happened as a result.
Now they have like everything, right?
Yeah, everything. You're right. So Steve, I want to thank you. You've really talked with us about how to clarify our message and how important that is, and also some of the things that we need to keep in mind when we're starting that business and when we're really trying to plan out what it's going to do. So I want to thank you so much.
Oh, my pleasure.
And I am starting the Dumont Digital Marketing Hour on LinkedIn, and I really want you to come and speak on that.
Great. I think we're connected. I hope we better be. If we're not, we will be
connected. We will be. Yes, exactly. I think we are. I think we do. Yeah. So listen, thank you so much, Steve, and have a great rest of your weekend.
Great. Thank you. I hope everyone has great business success.
From your lips to God's ears, as they say. Thank you, Steve.